Pacific, on the West Coast, the world, around the world, really. Official DJ for the 49ers. Resident at the Lights, official DJ there. Got nationally syndicated radio shows, and the list goes on and on and on. Really happy to have my friend and in the studio today. It's a DJ E-Rock, man.
There
how's it going?
How you doing, man? You good?
I'm living, man. How are you living?
I'm good, man. I'm living. I'm healthy.
We're alive.
Yeah, we're alive. I'm safe. So yeah, things are good.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh, of course, man. I've been itching to get in the studio with you and just chat with you and kind of break it down and really it's really cool because we've met like doing a project for the Los Angeles Clippers. It was Filipino Heritage Night, first time we met, and so through basketball, right, through these events and just kind of doing your thing, right, in the community.
It's been nonstop. So
I have read that you were on the airwaves since you were 15 years old, man.
15 years old, man.
A child, straight up, like.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I was on the radio before I even, have done anything else. Like my first job was not a paper route. It was literally being on KMEL, which is crazy.
Oh man, grew up. So growing up in the Bay, KMEL, if you don't know, it's the hip hop station, 106, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get started in music, right? Like in basically DJing. Like give me that origin story in the Bay.
Do you want the short form or the long form?
Man, feel free, man. Tell me.
I'm kind of old, man. So
there's a lot of years. There's a lot of years.
There's a lot of years
so
involved here, man.
Yeah. So when's the first time you touched turntables?
It actually all started, man, by a random trip to a community swimming pool, which is really strange to say, you know. But what it was is that I lived in this neighborhood in Concord, California. I was probably like around 10, 11 years old. And what happened was I met this family, the Sumalong family. There was 3 brothers. And, I befriended the youngest one. His name was Pete. And, we were playmates in the neighborhood. We would play like baseball, play catch, football, what 10-year-olds do. And what, that turned into was like, okay, winter comes, you're not playing outside anymore. So we started playing like Nintendo and stuff like that, like RBI baseball, Contra. I mean, I'm dating myself by naming these games, but it turned into that. But then literally,
you're an OG in the game, so it's they
don't
know about those games.
It's man, it's kind of crazy to say that too, but. What happened was literally I would come over the house, and while I was playing video games with Pete, his older brother Charlie, would be in his bedroom. And his older brother Charlie, he was probably 10 years older. So he was probably, if I was 11, he was probably maybe a little less than 10 years. He was probably like 17, 18 years old. He was already going to clubs and stuff like that, DJing clubs. So he would be practicing DJing. I'd say maybe no less than 20 feet away from us playing video games. And I'm like, what is this guy doing over there? I'm hearing him scratching and stuff like that. So one time I remember I was like, hey, Pete, I got to use the bathroom. Is that okay? He was like, yeah, it's all good. Well, he didn't say that because, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So on my way to the bathroom, I had to pass Charlie's room, and it was cracked open one time. And I was looking, and he was juggling Al Nafish, it's time, back and forth, just practicing. And I was like, dude, what the hell is this guy doing? This shit's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. And so, I knock on the door, and he answers it. He's like, hey, what do you want? I'm like the 10-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, just curious, and I'm not even there to watch him DJ, but I ended up literally turning those video game trips, or even playing catch with Peter, to literally going there and watching him DJ. Then it turned into me practicing how to DJ, asking him yo, how do you do this? I want to try it. Can I? And that's how kind of it all started, and sure enough, man, I became that annoying kid that they used to go to his house all the time.
And ask all the questions. Man. And even going even when Peter wasn't there, Peter would be swim team practice, I would still go to the house and go, hey, Charlie, can I practice or whatever? Yeah. He was probably yeah, go ahead, man. You're my little brother's friend. It's fine, but thank God he did that, man. I wouldn't be here today unless he did. There you go. Shout out to him, man. I think, and then from there it kind of led you to get on the radio, right, on KMEL. So how'd you get the break there?
Well, after I learned how to DJ, my father and my mother bought me my first pair of turntables. And from there on out, like I started doing like little events like in high school. And not in high school, but middle school all the way to high school. And I remember one time I went back to Charlie's house and he had a flyer on the floor. And this flyer was it was promoting Rick Lee's birthday party. Rick Lee, super San Francisco OG. Still on the radio, yes. 20 plus years, still on the radio on KMEL, doing the same slot, 5 o'clock. What happened was, there was a voicemail on that flyer, and I was like, man, I wonder, what this voicemail is for. I just, I used to be one of those curious kids, man. So I dialed it. I remember the number too. It was 415-804-2121. So I called
back when we actually had to remember phone numbers, right?
It was a voicemail. And I remember, it was like, yo, this is DJ Rick Lee of SBC. Leave your name and address after the tone, and we'll get a demo tape out to you. Or let us know your event that we'd like to, or that you'd like us to be at. And I was like, oh shit, I can get a free demo tape out of this. I left my address on there, and then he sent me the demo tape, and I was like, yo, this is the best thing I ever heard in my life. And he was like, wow, like, okay, cool, I'll send you another one. So I would call all the time, every month, and just get a new demo tape. I'm like, and I remember I called him one time, and then, he answered. And he was doing construction at the time. So he picks up the phone. He's like, yo, hello? And I'm like, yo, is this Rick Lee? And he was like, yeah, who is this? I was like, hey, man, you've been sending me demo tapes for the last 6 months, man. I just want to let you know this is the best shit I've ever heard in my life. I want to know how you did this.
Dope.
And sure enough, that turned into like an internship, with his DJ crew. And I used to just carry speakers and carry records and whatnot. And he was so big in the clubs at that time where KMEL took a big interest in him. And, I was around for all that. I remember when Alex Mejia had called him going like, yo, like, you're killing it in the clubs right now. Come on in. We're looking for a 5 o'clock DJ guy. And, sure enough, man, I was there for that. And, I walked in on his first day. Like, I walked in with him on his first day on KMEL 20-something odd years ago. And, I was just around. And so eventually I got my break from just being around and be like, yo, what is this little kid doing here? Like, he's like 15, 16 years old. And I'd be like, yo, I'm a DJ too. And I remember Chewy Gomez and Franzen, they were like, oh, you DJ also? Like, you want to turn in a mix? I was like, for real? I'm 15 years old. You want me to be on the radio? They're like, yeah, just, send me something, or not send me something, but record something and bring it here. Cause we couldn't MP3 anything back then. That's how old this story is. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But sure enough, I recorded a 15-minute mix. They loved it.
On
to the
like,
point where
where you had to record on a tape.
It was on a reel-to-reel.
Oh, dude, like exactly.
It was on a reel-to-reel. That's what we aired our mixes on back then. And I was 15 years old and on the radio. And, it turned into a job. And, we didn't have social media or anything. So I ain't gonna lie, man. It was kind of hot being like 15 years old on KMEL and being the hottest shit in high school. Like, bro, I would go to school the next day, like, yo, I heard you on the radio, dog.
That must have been like you just flying high on that.
I was flying high on that for a long time.
That's huge, man. I think, and that's like it. It's funny when you say like you're dating yourself, right? Because what I get from that though is like you've seen the world change. Now we're in this time where those stories are still very similar, right? Just different times now. But
for sure. Yeah.
But like in the Bay, like I have a question for you because I know you've real quick, we have this shorts collection coming out, right? And this short collection that we have, it's called the 3-City Tour.
Yes.
And so it had to start in the Bay. So this question for you is like, what about the Bay Area like really pinpoint that taught you how to hustle? Like the real hustle from the Bay, like that you don't see it anywhere else.
The Bay was what was very, very essential to, my identity. And my identity, I think today is just kind of being one of the hardest working guys in the business. Thanks. And, I think I got a lot of that from just like the independent hustle that we had to have in the Bay Area. The Bay Area doesn't have a very industrious scene, meaning that, there's no music industry there. There's no TV studios. All you had was just radio, nightclubs, and people. That's it. That's all you had. So if we wanted something and we wanted to build enterprise, we legit had to build it. There was nothing pre-existing whatsoever. And, you know, a lot of that kind of stuck with me, you know. And at the same time, my mom, you know, and I credit her, like, you know, for a lot of my entrepreneurial spirit. You know, she had a direct mail marketing company while I was, you know, growing up as an adolescent. And, you know, I used to hear her on the phone all the time. Like, you know, she was young, and not that she's not young anymore. You know, Mom, I know if you're listening to this, don't, you know, she hates it when I call her old. And, you know, but, you know, I used to listen to her, like, you know, just like make these phone calls. You know, she was young, started a business from the ground up, from literally $0 to, like, you know, 15, 20 years down the line, billing $1 million a year in just like literally independent sales. And I watched her do that. So I got a lot of like my hustle from, you know, my parents, and just like, you know, from the region, and knowing what I wanted, but knowing that everything I wanted, I had to build, you know, like even like, you know, like the sports stuff I do, like I had to build all that. Like it wasn't like they were looking, none of this that I have today, you know, started from me looking at an ad going, hey, we're looking for something that is of this fit. No, I had to build it and then slot right in after that. So.
Right. And it makes sense when I hear the story, because, you know, apples don't fall far. You know, I like saying that because your mom had that hustle. And you're just talking about, you know, calling in and calling Rick Lee and just kind of being around and hearing that, like her calling and doing this kind of direct stuff, it kind of just trickled down to kind of give you that hustle. Yeah. And that's what I see in terms of like, when I think of like DJs, and let's just take like the Bay Area DJs, right? Like the OGs, right? There's like Shortcut, there's, you know, Cooper, all these guys. Like you're up there and it's like you're still working and doing innovative things like throughout your career.
Yeah. You gotta do it.
Yo, like that's when you say you're like one of the hardest working, like that is 100%, man. I think, and that's what keeps you relevant, man. Like, so throughout the Bay Area times, like what was the next move? Was it here to LA?
No, the next move was, I mean, pretty much like, you know, I'd say, I don't know, for a good amount of years, like, you know, a decade plus, like, you know, I was just grinding it out, you know, from radio station to radio station to nightclub to nightclub. And I remember I would always set goals for myself. I was like, I remember one time I was on Wild 94.9 at the time. It was after KML. And I was like, man, like, I want every like local rapper to just like, you know, to really mess with me, like, you know, just to know that I have their back. So I remember I used to invite every local rapper that I knew or didn't know,
right,
and try to figure out how to get them to the station and be that go-to guy for like the local community. And I achieved that, you know. Then after that, I was like, all right, I need to be like, you know, I need to be in every upscale elevated nightclub, you know, possible in the Bay Area. And then I achieved that. Then the next move for me being in every elevated nightclub in the Bay Area was Vegas. That was the natural evolution, you know, because that was when bottle service was taking off, and bottle service was so big in Vegas. That was like the bottle service capital, you know, to where, you know, I kind of like, I parlayed everything that I was doing in San Francisco and took it to Vegas, you know, took my following there. The people that were all about buying bottles and whatnot, like, you know, I took them to Vegas, and then they could have this insane experience, you know. And, you know, now, I mean, dude, it's crazy to say this, man, but I've been in Vegas, like playing in Vegas for about a good 12 to 13 years. Nonstop. It would have been 14, but we lost a year during the pandemic.
Right.
You know? So
in that time, I mean, you know, you kind of like, you've achieved your goals in the Bay. Right. Yeah. Kind of marking it off a list in a way. And then you're like, you know, let's take it to Vegas and go big. Because Vegas is that place where everyone's trying to just have the time of their lives, right? I mean, people go there. Absolutely. You know,
they throw the rules out the window.
It's gone. And so going to Vegas and kind of taking the Bay Area with you and taking what you've learned and taking it to Vegas, like what was the biggest change? I mean, like from that transition.
I think Vegas really taught me about, you know, what I was doing was still a business at the end of the day. And it was a high stakes business out there. Like, you know, one wrong decision in Vegas, like, yo, you can cost the club thousands of dollars, you know.
And you'll never invite you back. Like you're done.
Yeah.
Like
and you were done, you know. So it held me to a standard. you know, and that was the big difference, you know. So going out there every weekend, like, you know, I was like, I mean, that was like my college, you know. I was like, you know, in my 20s, just going to Vegas and learning and just literally going like, all right, like, you know, if I do something wrong, I'm gonna lose this gig, and not only am I gonna lose that gig, the club is gonna lose customers doing so, you know, because like just like you said, like people go to Vegas to want to have the best times of their lives,
Right.
They throw the rules out the window. They spend like, you know, like just enormous amounts of money just to be able to achieve that and have the story to tell. Now, if you mess up that story for that person, it's a bigger loss than, like, you know, what you would, like, you know, encounter if you did like a house party and play the wrong record or whatever. So that was what Vegas like really like taught me, and what the big difference was just, man, the standards and the stakes were high. Just like they say, no pun intended, but the stakes are high in Vegas.
High, for sure. And you know what's really interesting? We were chatting about this earlier. Vegas is opening back up. So after a whole year, right? We'll fast forward to this pandemic year, this crazy year. Yeah. And now Vegas is opening back up. So you got your residency, right?
Thank God I still do.
Still got it.
I mean, not only did I think it was
still got my job, you know.
Like. I didn't. I mean, not only did I think it was going to be a reset for the world, I was like, man, well, maybe this might be their way out, you know. But no, you know, I mean, the company I've been with, you know, before it was called the Light Group, then it took another form of Play Management and Click Hospitality. You know, I've been with them like for a long time, and I'm very grateful that, like, the moment that things started to open up and we started seeing light at the end of the tunnel, they're like, yo, let's put the band back together. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm in. Let's do this, man.
Did you have hesitancy to come back? Were you feeling a little like,
did I have hesitancy
just to kind of, because of the world that's, you know, in front of us?
Well, you know what, you know, vaccination is a very personal choice for a lot of people. Sure. And, you know, if you're listening right now, like, this is not propaganda or whatever. But, you know, I chose to come back after I was fully vaccinated, fully protected. And, you know, after my second shot, you know, I remember I called them. I was like, all right, look, you know, I know you guys, you know, are starting to open up. I mean, the timing kind of worked out. Like, they started opening up like in like May or something like that. And I was already, you know, I'm sorry, not May, March. I was already protected by then. And I was like, all right, you know, let's figure this out. So, you know, the hesitancy came only when I wasn't fully protected, you know. But like, once I got that second shot, I was like, yo, I'm out here, dog. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Go.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, exactly, man. I was like that. I was that pit bull on a chain, just ready to just break away and just like, let's go.
So what have you seen from the, you know, you've had a couple events already. So what can you like share with us? Cause it feels a little like, from the outsiders looking in, like, yo, like, what are you seeing?
It's
man?
it's foreign. It's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I like to say that there's like 3 different crowds in Vegas right now. You have this very conservative crowd, you know, that's that's not used to being around people. Then you have people that their lives have never really changed. You know, they just kind of kept on living their lives the way that they did. You know, some of them may have even caught COVID and just, you know, and thank God they recovered from it. And then you have this crowd that's like, you know, that's been itching to go out. I think I'm part of the crowd that's been itching to go out, you know, because it's been a part of my DNA for so long, you know. So you have like these 3 crowds kind of interacting with each other, and everyone's just kind of like awkward, you know. It's like a school dance almost, you know. Like, people are kind of awkward, going like, all right, like, you know, I mean, should I take my mask off? Should I, you know? Yeah. And like I said, man, all of it, like, you know, getting back to normal is obviously the common goal. How people do it is completely up to them. So, you know.
I feel it, man. I think that's going to be interesting to see. But, you know, I'm excited to go out there and kind of, you know,
be ready, man. Like, yo, like, after like a year being gone, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I blacked out my first night back, or first day back, man. I was like, I wasn't able to like handle what I used to handle on a weekly basis.
You're like 14 months, you know, in quarantine or lockdown. You know,
I mean, I was still drinking on the internet, though.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, were you not drinking at all? Yeah, you know, on your Twitch.
But it's a little bit different though when you're just out there
raging with people.
You're raging with people.
Different.
Like, you know, you're. Like, I'm not sitting there, and don't get me wrong, I have a great time doing it as well. I'm not sitting there in front of a camera, like, you know, in a chat room, you know, drinking with people like on the internet, like what we do on Twitch. And I have a great time doing that. It does hit a little bit different when you're outside, like, with people, and you're not by yourself. You're going by other people's agendas as well.
Right.
Like if I take one shot with this person, guess what? Someone's going to want to take another shot. Like literally 5 minutes later, I'm like, yo, I just took one. Like, all right, I haven't seen you in a year. Like you feel bad. Like, all right, I'll do it. And all of a sudden, it gets a little too crazy. I'm not proud of it, but I had a great time though. Either way, so it's all
If
good.
you didn't black out, then it wasn't a good Vegas
yeah,
trip.
it's like, did you even Vegas?
Did you even,
Did
go?
Yeah.
I got to remember the last time I partied with you in Vegas before pandemic. We were out there. I don't know if it was a birthday or whatever, but I remember the smart person that I am. I didn't have my wallet, right? So I didn't have my ID, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
I thought you were gonna say the smart person I am.
And
I drank a lot of water.
No, I didn't have my wallet. I was like, oh, I'm done for. I can't do shit. Can't even gamble. I was like, I go into the pit boss is like, come on, man, let's hear your ID. Like I couldn't do shit. Damn. I was like, I'm gonna still call E and see what's up. And he was like, no, I got you. And I was like, bro, I don't have an ID. He's like, no, I got you. And I was just like, I already knew you were big time, but then when I pulled up the security, I was like, dude, what are you doing here? And then of course, my man over here comes out and gets me in, and I'm in there like, people would not believe I got into a club without IDs.
I would do that for. Very few people I would do that for.
And for that, man, I appreciate you, man. We brought the family. That was dope.
Most security guards that don't have like an ego can tell, like, all right. Yeah. Obviously you look over 21, you don't look a day over 22 though, which I really commend you on. I get
carded to do everything, man, when it's so.
And that's great, man. You probably drink a lot of water, you eat well,
do it all, man. I black out in Vegas though, so that's what I do when we party together. But man, that's just one of those things where you've been doing it for so long, and it's just like I'm excited to see you back out there and
Thanks, man.
But one of the things that the work ethic, man, like you got to speak on that, because during the pandemic, rewind a little bit back.
No problem.
Because you're ready to come back. The world is ready to come back out. But man, during the pandemic, how you were able to create new ways, innovating, as I said earlier, about, whether it's bringing in new fans, new followers, new platforms. Speak on that, man, because I think it's really big in terms of using the pandemic as a way to actually kind of take off in a new way and being smart in that way, man, because
I told myself, all right, here we are blessed with all this new time that we never had. I never had any time for anything. I'm going to do everything I want to achieve. And I want to, get into things that I've never been able to get into. The shorts being one of them. The live stream thing being another one of them. The, doubling down on my radio show. Like taking that to a new height, and, I as much as an unfortunate, thing that we've been through, and some people are still going through it, and my heart is with them. I took it as almost like a blessing, to be able to elevate, and I was like, all right, at the end of this, and we thought that this was going to be a 6-month thing at most.
For sure.
It was
just like, okay, let's take a quick break. And
I remember when the clubs closed and said, oh, we're going to be closed for 2 weeks. Then we'll see you back here. All right, I got 2 weeks off. It's amazing, I get to hang out at home and still get paid. That's great. But no, we were 13 months out before I was able to do another live show again. So I took this as a way for me to really just up my game. And I said that I wanted to be a better version of myself on the other side of this pandemic. And I fully don't even think that we're still out of it. Like we're still going through it. Things are a lot safer nowadays, but I still got more work to do. So I took on live streaming because I still wanted to interact with people and I still wanted to stay relevant, and I had a contact at Twitch that really changed the trajectory of, my brand. His name is Anil, and, I remember calling him and asking him, going like, yo, man, what's the likelihood of working with you guys, on a more bigger, scale, and he was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what you need to do, and I'm going to tell you what you need to have. And when you get all that done, call me and we'll figure it out. So he gave me the list of items I needed software. I had to learn a whole new skill set. I didn't know how to do any of this, but like now I could probably not only run a live stream in my sleep, like this is probably like the same software they use for like TV stations and stuff, you know? So I got all that done, and I remember, you know, having the idea of doing a live stream version of my radio show, which is The Basement. You know, and that's my syndicated show that's on 7-8 different stations across the country, and also airs here in Los Angeles and in Las Vegas and in San Francisco. So that was my first idea. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to play video games, and then I'm going to DJ. What happened was my numbers were okay, you know, but I had an epiphany. I was like, what if I were to like tell all my friends that are like streaming on like other platforms that, hey, why don't you come over here and utilize this platform, and we can kind of all like support each other, like, you know, and build a community together. So I reached out to every big DJ that I was good friends with, and, you know, even pitched the idea to Neil, going like, what if I got you like, you know, Vice, Eric Deluxe, Five, Scene, like the people, the movers and shakers of Vegas, you know, and brought them to this platform, because they were all on IG Live at the time. And there was a lot of frustration with that platform, because
I remember.
You would stream. It would just cut you
off. It wasn't that good. It wasn't very good. But it's all a lot of people had, though.
It's all we had.
Exactly.
It was the only way that we can connect with our audience. So like, you know, and I reached out to Franzen as well. I reached out to like literally every heavy hitter on the Strip, and then we all banded together and put our followings in like a bucket. It said, all right, here, I'm going to take my people from the Bay. You're going to take your people from LA. You're going to take your people from Vegas. You're going to take your people from New York. And let's just see what happens. And it spawned, you know, this huge community that still exists today. And I'm very grateful for it, you know, like, because, you know, it's almost like a little city. You know, when you log on to Twitch now, like you have at least like probably like, you know, 50 to 60,000 people just watching DJ streams, which is crazy.
Yeah, sitting at home drinking with you guys.
Yeah,
just like as if you were at the club at the table, right? Like, yeah.
I mean, that's a big difference too as well. Like, you know, obviously if we're at the club, like, you know, we're not interacting with guests like the way that we are on a live stream. On a live stream, there's a chat room, you know, you're chatting with people, you're talking to them, you're answering questions and whatnot. And, you know, these are people that are at home also under quarantine, you know, not being able to go out, that are looking for that sense of just being around people and interacting with other people in a party atmosphere.
Right.
We were able to kind of recreate that in a virtual aspect through Twitch. So, you know, that was probably the biggest highlight I had during, you know, pandemic. I mean, there were times where, you know, we would be on the front page and see like 20, 30, 40,000 people watching us, which is a bigger crowd than what we've seen in Vegas, you know? I
was just going to say.
And all of us kind of like, you know, like we all thrived on it, and we all like, you know, were able to reach new audience and reach new people and stay relevant even for our current audiences, you know? And
it gave relief. It was really awesome to see. It gave people relief, like, because there was those people that you were saying were itching to go out, who's like right now, like, oh my God, I can't wait to go to Vegas again.
Yeah.
So those guys are like, oh dude, it's like I'm at the club again, or it's a new experience for them. So they were enjoying it just as much. That's why your numbers were going crazy.
Dude, they were going ham, bro.
It was so inspiring. Like, and that's what I've kind of like took in the same time. It's like it was time to reflect during the pandemic. Like, okay, what am I going to do better to better myself, or to, you know, I think, you know, I was very fortunate, you know, obviously to be healthy, but also to grow the business. And honestly, like seeing that work and seeing how people innovate and how people move in a new direction when life kind of makes you do things. So instead of stopping, man, you got to make a new way and just kind of create. And that's kind of the
keep on going.
Seriously, man. And that's kind of the push that seriously, like seeing you and do that pushed me to even do this podcast, or to kind of elevate and do something new, do something different, to reach, you know, the community, like you said, the community that we have, and really just kind of spread that with it. It's been really cool to see.
So thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man.
It's been great to see your growth as well. Like, you know, the business is thriving, you know, and
that's a crazy thing. You know, the pandemic was scared almost 100% of us, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was our job or our hustle. But man, like it was a time for all of the, you know, like for us to just kind of like take it and just like own it, and then can push forward.
Yeah.
And you know, like, you know, that's why this project, you know, I've had these, you know, kind of going back to this 3-city tour collection. And you've said it in the times that you've been talking just now about, you know, from the Bay to Vegas, and then you know, from Vegas, you know, kind of your new home in a way.
Yeah, this is home.
This
now,
is the
man.
home
This
now.
Is definitely home now.
This is home now.
This is the final stop. You know what I mean?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is a beautiful city. There's no other city like it. You know, and I've always actually had a love affair with this city ever since I've lived in the Bay. I've always wanted to live here. You know, and I remember, you know, telling my girlfriend of 13 years, you know, now, I was like, you know, at some point I'm going to live in LA. I just don't know when. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I was always thriving, you know, wherever I was. I was in the Bay, I was running nightclubs, you know, and I had, you know, multiple businesses. I was in Vegas, I had multiple residencies, you know, and I just didn't know when LA would make any sense. And then I remember getting a phone call a long time ago. It's been 4.5 years now. You know, I've been down here about the potential of being on a radio station that I started on out here, which was Power 106. Mm-hmm. So I you know, jumped at that offer, and I was like, yeah, you know, it was a small slot on Sundays, you know, and you know, it was just on the weekends. I did it once a week. But, you know, the fact that I was given that platform, you know, enabled me to do other great things. You know, I mean, I work for, you know, a company during the week, which is called Zen, you know, just a sneaker retailer and stuff like that. So I get to, like, you know, dabble in that, and we've been able to do things with that as well.
Real quick. I mean, DJing, marketing with Zen, and entrepreneurship. I mean, it's kind of, you know, there's a lot of things in your bag.
It's in my DNA.
Dude's in his bag, just doing everything.
I learned it at an early age from watching my mother and watching a lot of my mentors doing the same thing. Like, I remember being 16 years old and, you know, watching Jazzy Jim, like, doing, like, real estate and radio and gigs, you know, and remixes. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. Like, I always felt like I was never doing enough if I didn't have a million things going on. And that hit me at a very young age. So, you know, and that's, you know, and my family, you know, definitely doesn't like it, but, you know, probably stay with me until, like, you know, my it's just elder statesmanship, you know.
Yeah, it's who you are. I mean, I remember just like, hey, what's up? Where you at? Oh, I'm getting on a flight to Vegas. I'll be back in the morning. I'm going here. It's like, this dude, we're always moving, man. But that's how you
can't stop.
Stay relevant and keep working, man.
Yeah. You know, I think that it comes with also just having a fear of losing it all, because I've lost it all before. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of amazing victories in my life, my career, both personal and professional, you know. But, you know, I've had a lot of downsides.
What's the biggest L? What's the biggest L that you've learned from? Man,
I remember, I don't even think I've even told this story, man, but I remember being...
Oh, an exclusive.
Probably, like, you know, 24, 25 years old. And it was one of the roughest years that I had been through. I had, you know, went through a really bad breakup. And at the same time, I lost my job. You know, my first, like, real, like, radio job. I was the music director at a small radio station that, you know, was spawned to go against KMEL. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I could take them out, going like, oh, I know their playbook. It's all good, you know. But I lost that job because, like, you know, it wasn't a successful radio station. And at the same time, like, you know, I had a good friend by the name of Martin Soriano that passed away, like, you know, by you know, an act of violence that happened. You know, I'll put it that way. And, you know, I was really in a bad place, the darkest time of my life, you know. And I remember just, like, you know, being in my bedroom, you know, just going through it, you know, and going through the motions and, you know, thinking, like, you know what, I want all these things to really, like, you know, work out, but nothing's working out for me right now. But believe it or not, man, like, you know, I remember I had just got a dog at the time. And that dog was the biggest blessing I ever had. You know, I had nothing more than $50 in my pocket. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at the time, my parents were helping me pay my rent. Like, you know, like it was bad, you know, it was just like I was in the lowest point. But I remember, you know, I literally had thought about probably just like ending it all. I was like, yo, man, this is just too much for me. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I have nobody, you know, talking to me or supporting me or telling me which way to go, because, you know, I had nothing at the time. But I remember looking at my dog, and my dog was just like a small little like 1-year-old puppy. And he just gave me this look. Like, all right, what's next? You know, dogs just kind of give you that look like, all right, what's next?
Right.
What's next? Like, you know, they rely on you. Like, yo, if you leave the room, okay, I guess we're leaving the room, you know? And to be honest, that was like a moment where I was just like, all right, well, I can't really end anything. Who's going to take care of this dog, you know?
Saved your life, man.
It did.
He
did. You know, he did. And you know, I just remember, I looked at that dog and I hugged him. I was like, you know, all right, you know, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'll figure this out. And sure enough, man, like, you know, I did figure it out, you know, and things started to kind of like, you know, come back around. You know, my parents knew that I was like, you know, severely depressed at the time. And, you know, I remember my mom bought me a book, and that book changed my life as well, which was a purpose-driven life. And, you know, it tells you just like, you know, how to find your purpose and how to live for it, you know. And when you do find it, like, you cannot be, you can't have partial obedience to your purpose. You got to have full obedience, or it's full disobedience. And I remember that stuck in my head like no other. It just echoed in my head like no other. And I lived my life that way, you know, and I was like, all right, I got to get something going again.
Right.
So I started DJing clubs again. I started just rebuilding my life and rebuilding my career again after I had went through all those severe losses, you know. So, you know, yeah, man, it's a crazy thing how life works.
Yeah.
You know, but that, even though that experience, you know, and, you know, it made me who I was, you know what I mean? And I still live by a lot of things that I learned through the darkest times of my life, you know. Yeah,
I think rock bottom is important to hit sometimes. And I think that's kind of, you know, it kind of shakes you and you got to rock it, and, you know, rocks you, and you got to kind of pick yourself up. And, you know, little moments like that, whether it's family or, you know, your dog or different things that kind of pick you up, man. It's so important.
Such a small moment like that really, it changed everything.
Yeah.
It changed everything.
And got you razor sharp, though.
Yeah.
And see, that's what's crazy, because if I just do the math, you said 24, you started in 15 years old pretty much, or maybe even before that. So you're 10 years in the game. That's like a long time. And
it was a long time.
And so it's like,
I had to grow
because when you hear
fast. 24,
it's like, dude, 24, like the hell, you're a kid too, you know, at the grand scheme of things. But man, like, that's a long time of kind of being in the industry, because it could kind of break you down, huh? So is there things in the industry that played into that?
You know, I mean, the industry has taught me to be as tough as I can be, you know, because this is a business of the no. And that's what I've learned. You know, this is a business that will tell you no, you know, 19 times and tell you yes once. And, you know, do I still get that no? Yeah. But I work through it, you know, and that's why, you know, like that's how I set my determination levels. It's like, all right, I'm told no again, but guess what? I'm going to go again. And they're going to tell me yes. Oh, I got told no again. No, we're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on going until it breaks through, you know. And, you know, it does take, you know, a beating on you, like, you know, after a while, though, you know. And the pandemic really taught me a lot of things, you know, in regards to, you know, mental health. And I didn't realize how burnt out I was after doing this my whole entire life, because I have not stopped.
Right. You were forced to stop. That's what the blessing was. It was forced us to kind of look inside and be like, what am I doing? You know, what can I do better and all that stuff. And we all went through that, man. And yeah. So, you know, I think it's crazy. Like, you know, like this business can take a real beating on you, you know, and I taught, you know, I had to learn how to, you know, take care of myself during the pandemic and allow myself to rejuvenate, allow myself to take a breather, you know, allow myself to be human, you know, and, you know, coming out of it, you know, and now that the pandemic is winding down, you know, I think about those things like, you know, pretty often, like, all right, do I want to fill the calendar and just be completely busy like how I was before
and just not have no time for nothing, but feel good about achieving my goals professionally? Or, do you want to be human a little bit and probably be a little bit more happier by not doing so, by paying attention to the things that really do matter? Family, self-care, your health. And I mean, dude, one thing I was never able to do during or before pandemic that I was able to do during pandemic was play video games.
Yeah.
It was a whole new world for me. Now I have this like ultimate addiction to Call of Duty that I never thought I would ever have. Like, I'm thinking about it right now, going like, when I get home, that's like, my.
I thought you're gonna bring it back to like some old school video games. Like, I finally had a chance to play Metal Gear.
Big on
or
Warzone.
like
I'm big on Warzone right now, man.
That's dope, man.
But that's like, my equalizer. And I don't think I ever really had an equalizer.
It's a balance. Gotta find the balance, man.
And that, I think that also went into play about me being a better version of myself, like, on the other side of the pandemic. So,
like, I think, something I wanted to ask was, and something with, I call this a knowledge podcast. We like to give out some free game, and you've already dropped gems about just kind of your trials, your successes and all that stuff. Like, sharing this, if someone's listening right now, if they're just like the 15-year-old E-Rock that was in the Bay that's listening, like, what's that advice for the game? Because the game is different now than it probably was back then.
Oh man, like, it's way different, man.
Right. So because you have your kind of like,
it's way different.
You have your finger on the pulse. You know what's happening. You know what happened, and you kind of can see how to move forward. So like, what's some advice for like the 15-year-old, E-Rock that's kind of like looking up to you right now? Like,
the big thing. The big thing that I realized, what's really like, been not only helpful, but just been the cornerstone of my career is just being a good person. And that's one thing I never lost face of is, when it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. You know what I mean? And that has really taken me further than anything else in my career. Like, I can hold a crowd, and I'm good on the mic, and I'm on the radio, and I have marketing skills, and I have all these skill sets. But the biggest skill set that's really set me apart and has like, really put me in great places and, blessed me with more opportunities is just being a good person. Because if you're not a good person, ain't nobody gonna want to help you. And when it comes down to even that, like, knowing that you're not ever going to do it by yourself. There's always going to be something or somebody or situation's going to sit you down and show you the ropes. You know what I mean? And being open to listening to those, people or just learning from those situations is going to be very crucial to how you're going to be able to navigate down the line. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought I could do everything by myself, but no, there's always somebody that takes the time out to help you.
For sure.
And if you can be a good person, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to help you, and, help is not a sign of weakness. Help is not, it's not a thing that, that says, oh, you did it wrong. No, to be honest, man, like, I love the fact that I can say that people help me, because, without that, without community and without people that support you, like, who am I?
You're really nothing, man. Like,
who am I?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
right.
I think a lot of kids these days kind of, forget that, because we have so much instant gratification from 7-second videos to 15-second stories and this and that, to where we kind of, we miss the mark on right. Or they don't get to be taught that, and it takes time, so, that would be like, my number one bar that I can pass on to someone younger than me.
It's nice to be important,
but more important to be nice.
There it is. I love that, man. I think it's.
I got that from Jazzy Jim, actually, who's my mentor.
There you go.
And I credit him for a lot of. I still call Jazzy just to confirm I'm not crazy.
Am I doing this right, man?
Yeah, like, hey, Jazz, shit, like, hey, man, like, I'm going through this, but this is how I feel, and this is what I'm thinking is the right thing to do. But that's not crazy, right? Like, nah, man, you're on the right path, you know? Mentors are great, man.
Right.
Mentors are everything to me. You know what I mean? And that's why even with me, I mentor a lot of people, because without mentors, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Facts. So there's a lot of mentees that you got probably.
I got a couple.
Yeah,
I got a couple mentees,
that's
man.
dope.
You
Kind
know,
of just teaching and showing the ropes.
From marketing to, like, you know, air personality stuff, to DJ stuff, you know, to, you know, every skill set that I you know, currently have. Like, I'm definitely, if I feel that I can mentor somebody with that, I will. So
dope. You know, and that's the thing that, you know, you just gotta, these old school values never, the technology changes, you know, the speed of things change, but go back to your kind of foundations of just like you said it, man, just being a nice person. It's very simple,
a great human being.
Like being simple.
It's simple.
It's so simple, and I think. And
let me ask you this: like, we worked together, and we did this project, the 3-city tour.
Yes.
You know, short collection. And I mean, if I was a complete jerk, would you have wanted to do that?
No,
like,
I wouldn't give you my time, man.
Yeah,
like,
you see what I'm saying? So, like, you know, you couple that with hard work and great ideas, like, yo, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, and so that goes to show too, just kind of obviously skill set and being able to go to any place and make a home, and that shows the kind of talent and the hard work that it takes.
Yeah.
So that's what is really, really a dope story to tell with this kind of city tour collection, which NewJerseySets.com. You know what I'm saying? You can go, you know, check that. But where we put, you know, the design of that element, real brief. I think I wanted to put the skylines of each city into kind of like a recognizable colorway for each city. Mm-hmm. So there's the LA, you know, the new home.
Yes,
right?
the new home.
There's the Vegas, which you could say maybe the second home.
It's my second home.
Then you got the original kind of the birthplace of DJ E-Rock, man.
Yeah, San Francisco.
That's right.
So, you know, and it's crazy, like, you know, how you put the skylines, like, you know, on each pair. And I could tell you, like, you know, numerous stories where I would sit there and just look at those skylines and just dream away.
Exactly.
About what I wanted to accomplish in each city and the goals that I set for myself. Like, what I wanted to do in San Francisco, then taking that, then what I wanted to do in Vegas, then taking that, and then now what I'm still trying to achieve here in Los Angeles. So,
that's right.
You know, there's a lot of things, and in every city, like, you know how you say, you know, the word home, like, every city has been, you know, a beautiful blessing to me. You know what I mean? I'm born and raised in San Francisco. You know, it's my identity. It's always going to be with me. And, you know, Vegas taught me, like, you know, standard more than anything, because, like, you know,
it's elevated. It's kind of,
it's just,
you know,
an elevated, like, you know, state always, you know. And then, you know, Los Angeles, you know, is now, like, you know, where I'm at, which is teaching me, you know, a lot of things. Like, you know, just, I mean, I never did the content game until I came down here. I never did, you know, radio full time.
Killing it though, by the way. So,
you know? I mean, I'm on the radio 6 days a week.
Real 92.3?
Yes, Real 92.3, you know, and I've never had something like that until I came down here, you know, and that's a huge blessing to me, you know, and that's, like, you know, I feel like for my radio career, like, everything came full circle for me here in LA. Incredible. You know, more than anything. So, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, there's a lot of story behind each pair. Each pair can tell you a million things that I've been through, my ups and my downs.
And I think the beauty is that people can attach to that. Obviously, they don't share the same story, but by looking at the skyline and showing you, like, you know, sky's the limit or dreaming big, they can create their own story.
Absolutely.
Create their own goals and be like, you know what, I want to do the same thing.
For sure. I encourage everybody to do that.
Exactly, man.
You
and
know?
I think, you know, that's like the you know, when you put the story together and you learn the roots of it, then it just kind of all comes together and just kind of makes a beautiful kind of like trio, man, and kind of culminating of your story. And it's a similar story too. I'm, you know, from the Bay Area as well, and now home in LA, kind of just making a way, man. And so, for sure, super inspiring.
You know, like, I mean, you know? It's a great thing, man. You know, and I mean, it's really amazing to kind of see, like, you know, each pair, and, you know, like I said, like, you know, from the colorways and just everything that encompasses each pair, and just be like, man, I could tell you 5 different stories that would just blow your mind about the time I lived here and the time I lived here and the stuff that I've seen in Vegas and the
craziest people in Vegas just wilding out like,
you know,
every weekend.
There's just so much history.
So much,
it's so dense and rich. You know, when I look at these shorts and when I look at just like, you know, the concept in general, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You know, just kind of wrap it up, man, and tell people right now, go down the list, man, because when you say you're killing, like, just got into the content game, pay attention to what E-Rock is doing in the content game. He's killing everybody right now. Is like the big
live
streams, you know, radio shows.
Big for me.
So just kind of where can they find you, man?
So, you know, you can find me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/DJ E-Rock. I live stream probably like anywhere from right now because, you know, I have a crazy schedule and like, you know, the real world is coming back to play. So I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, what my streaming schedule is. It used to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now I'm, you know, back out, like doing like shows again. So, but, you know, I'll probably be streaming like, you know, twice a week. So that's twitch.tv/DJ E-Rock. I'm on the radio 6 days a week here in Los Angeles on Real 92.3, which is an iHeart radio station. I do the Cruise Show kickoff mix every 2 p.m., which is actually the most trafficked hour in Los Angeles right now because of listening habits in the pandemic. Like if you're out running errands, like, you know, and you're working from home, it's usually around 2 o'clock.
Usually it's the 5. Usually it's like the rush of the morning.
But it's starting to balance out again. Yeah, it's starting to kind of change up, you know. But I also have a show, you know, which is Radio Basement. The Basement is, you know, what we call it, you know, and that's on 7 different stations across the country, primarily here in Los Angeles on Real 92.3, on Real 103.9 in Las Vegas, and in San Francisco 997 now. So, you know, 3 cities right there.
There it is.
You know, I do the Zen Sneaker Show. You know, I have a podcast talking about sneakers and radio, and we have a radio show that's coupled with it.
You're not working as hard as E-Rock. I'll tell you that right now.
Man, I have a marketing company. You know, I have a concierge company that was thriving before the pandemic that can book you a table in Vegas, and now that's coming back. You know, and that's a crazy thing. It's like I took on all these projects like during pandemic, and now I kind of get overwhelmed thinking like, all right, how the hell am I going to maintain all these things that I was like doing well during the pandemic and take on like all the old things that are coming back to life, like, you know, now like shows and the concierge thing, you know, and try to think. I have a graphic design agency, you know, that I'm behind, and I have another project that I can't talk about that I'll tell you offline.
We'll sign the NDA and we'll
help you out with that's going to mean a lot to me, and you know, there's just a lot of things, man, and obviously like the fashion thing that we're doing together, like, you know, I wanted to do basketball shorts because I wear basketball shorts religiously every day of my life.
I would catch you know, the Twitch streams, and you know, it was just like, you know, like, yo, like, it's always in basketball because you're just in the crib, right? So it's like about jerseys and shorts, and so it's like,
I love it.
Yeah,
like, it's what I grew up in, you know. And another crazy story about the shorts, you know, how they came to play and how I pitched the idea, you know, to Kev was, you know, I was always known on live streams, you know, for being the guy wearing basketball shorts.
Yep.
And I remember one time, like, you know, Bella Fiasco and Eric Deluxe, they were just like, "What basketball shorts you wearing today, E-Rock?" And
it was like the
Bulls ones,
yeah.
You know. And then, you know, we created an emoji off of it. So now when people will see me on live stream on Twitch, they'll identify me with obviously the E-Rock emoji, my face, and the basketball shorts. And it became such a big thing on Twitch where I remember I was like, you know what? One day I'm going to come out with my own basketball shorts.
There it is.
One day. And that was a year ago. And then I was like, you know what, man? I called Kev and I was like, man, let's see if this can take off. But the crazy thing is, like, everyone's like going crazy about it. I'm like, yo, you really made it happen. I'm like, man, but I didn't do it alone. I did it
right
because I called my guy Kev,
yes,
and yo, these things are
man,
beautiful.
You know, besides the shorts, we make shorts every day, but you know, when there's story to it, when there's meaning, and you can kind of create a full circle moment just like that.
Yeah,
that makes it that much more special. So
again,
thank you for thank you for blessing us.
Here we go. Let's show them off real quick before we wrap it up. We got like 5 minutes left or something like that.
So we've talked about. Shout out to the crew, the squad.
Shout out to
man.
the crew in
Come
here
on, man. Next layer. Love you guys. Here we go. Look at this. So we
got the birthplace shorts right here.
So again, we talk about the skyline. You got the E-Rock logo, got the little SF. Again, all of our shorts, got to have zipper pockets.
Yes.
And so, I kept Day Club pool party in mind. You could swim in these too. Why not?
I don't think I want to though.
Yeah, yeah, all day. Don't mess them up. You got zipper pockets, got a back pocket, so we get real resourceful and real useful utility.
So these are the birthplace shorts, and the colorway is the We Believe Warriors colorway.
So I have to shout out the We Believe Warrior team.
So yo, when I seen those in real life, I was like, get out of here! They look insane.
I think personally my favorite colorway. Then we got the second home,
the Las Vegas ones.
That's right,
Las Vegas Strip. Right there. And then, it's the UNLV colors. Vegas has been so kind to me and amazing to me to where, it's always going to be a second home, and it might be my first home at some point. We'll see. Probably like way later down the line when I don't want to travel more than 3 minutes to anything, because it's easy living there. But it's a little too easy for me. I like the big city,
Yeah.
So,
and then
these right here are the new home. The legacy pair is that what it's called, or
I called it the Southland. I just felt like kind of like a shout out to Southern California, LA, obviously with the Laker colorways, right? So
absolutely, so Laker colorways, Laker skyline, and this detail right here is insane though, man. This
that embroidered patch,
oh my god, man! And this is actually my radio show logo right here. This is actually the basement icon. And it's got like the E-Rock logo here, and it's not like invasive or anything. It's just right. You know what I mean? You can.
We got to let them
it's
know,
mine.
Man. We got to let them know.
Great about it. So,
but yeah, you can check that out. So again, super honored to make these. Super honored to work with you, man. I'm excited for all the stuff you're doing. Just a reminder that I'm not working hard enough. I need to up my game.
Chill
so
out,
if you're
man.
not,
you definitely, hey, bro. You see how great these things are? You're definitely, dude. The quality on these are just insane. This is hard work. This is insane.
I appreciate you, man.
You know what I mean? This is like, dude, like I said, when you gave me the samples, I was like, get out of here. These are they were way better than what I thought, they would ever come out to be. I'm not saying you do, crappy work. I'm just saying that,
I'm not sure if I can trust this guy's work.
No, no. I mean, they were mind blowing. And these ones, I was like, wow, I'm still wowed by them.
Sold out fast. We're gonna have to have to re-up. Maybe more designs. Maybe a restock. We'll see.
Maybe a different colorway.
Different colorway.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen, man. Well,
I'm all in.
Again, for the 37 jobs that you do, I appreciate you for taking this time to sit down with me, man.
There was no way I was gonna miss this, man.
That's right.
This is such a special moment for me, and just my story in general, and just to be able to say just like you say, the full circle moment of having these come full circle.
That's it.
It's different. I've been buying shorts my whole entire life. Now I have my own. You know what I mean? Because of you.
Man.
Come on, man.
Let's go. But again, thank you so much, man. I think I think that's it, man. I think thank you for your time, and see you in Vegas, man. We'll get blackout drunk next time.
Hey, man. Just drink a lot of water. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'll bring my ID this time.
Yeah, that would work. That would definitely help out.
So catch E-Rock again, Real 92.3, like you said, the light in Vegas.
Daylight, actually.
Daylight in Vegas, correction. Thank you. Pull up, man, and have a good time. If you're scared, then just don't show up. All right, man, that's a wrap. Appreciate you, man.